know people that like bridges, not the ones you drive. Joke, joke, joke. We all laugh. Why am I holding a green POS? Well, because I did a review of the limited special edition EVERTUNE guitar. 7-string behemoth, Fishman Fluence, EVERTUNE, all that. Great axe. And in that review, I learned more about the EVERTUNE system. And while talking to them, I said, well, it's all nice and good that we always look at EVERTUNE guitars and we're saying they're nice, but we don't know what they would sound like without the EVERTUNE, because it is the point where the guitar string touches the instrument. And when you talk to Trevor Wilkinson, clever man, he says this is where it's at. Right here, where the string touches the guitar, and right here. Now, when you change that, you're changing the sound. And the EVERTUNE is adding a lot of metal, okay? Quite a bit more here, but also you have to probably route out a little bit more in the back, especially if you have a Les Paul or something. But I mean, you probably have to route out more than we have in here. So there is less guitar after the install, but more metal. And I said, can we find out what the difference actually is? And can you pay me for that? And that's what we're doing. So they commissioned me to do this test. They found a willing participant who ordered this S2 POS. And we're going to get before sounds, which is now. They sent this to me. I will send this back to the shop. Wait, let me tell you what shop that is, because I think that is important because they're actually helping us. So the shop that is arranging this for us is Musikhaus Schlaile. And the guy that is doing the retrofit is Unicut Guitars. And he's actually also filming it for us. So what you're going to see in a bit is him doing all this. Then he sends the guitar back to me. Couple of words about this guitar. This is a PRS S2, so that is their US line, but their cheaper line. And I got a little bit of a love-hate relationship with them, because they are, as a tool, fantastic guitars. They play like a US PRS because they are. They sound like them because they are. They are, as a tool, great guitars. But PRS is deliberately throwing in some aspects that make the guitars feel cheaper. And they're not cheap. These are like $1,600 to $2,000. They're not cheap guitars. They are in the higher price range, but they're not $4,000. So they're making them artificially a bit cheaper to distinguish them to the buyer from their €4,000 model. For example, from something like this, which is a €6,000 model. Okay, that's a modern Eagle too. But plastic birds. Plastic in a guitar for that much money? When you buy an SE made in Korea at the Chord Factory, it's ebony. Look at the top. Right there, it's kind of matching, but depending on how you look at it, there it really depends on the angle. It is kind of book matchy, but there it really, that looks like shit. That looks cool. Who looks at it from that angle? And I have a CE that does that. Plasticky birds, why? And also, this really bugs me. The covers are on top. Both of them have plastic covers, which is fine, but on top. Why not CNC a little bit of route it out and put, I don't understand. They're doing this with their SE line, but they can't do it here. This is deliberately done to make them feel cheaper. And I have an issue with it. When a company can do the job, but they don't do it to distinguish them from their more expensive models. I think it's bullshit. Do the job right. People will still buy your expensive guitars. This is, however, a good instrument. Don't misunderstand me. So I think for what we want to do, this is a perfect instrument, because we're not routing out a €5,000-6,000 PRS, which is sacrilege. We take a good bass instrument, which is what this is. This is actually really cool green, mahogany, top locking tuners, probably PRS pickups, 3 positions, single coil, which actually sounds rather decent. And we're doing the unthinkable. We'll take this off and put the EVERTUNE in. Now we're going to get before sounds. We're going to get some cleans, we're going to get some drives and some more drives. And then we're going to do exactly the same thing once it comes back. Very likely it will be played primarily, I assume, with higher gain sounds, because that's usually who gets EVERTUNE. So let me show you one thing, for example, that this guitar does that the EVERTUNE doesn't. By me pushing harder on the string, I'm bending the string, right? So if I'm not a good guitar player and I put too much pressure on one string and not the other, the intonation within this chord is not perfect. So with EVERTUNE, that wouldn't happen, because if you set it up right, isn't going to have any effect. Pushing hard isn't going to have any effect. Bending the string when you're striking it hard, that first whew, isn't going to happen. So you would have right now actually all this goes away if you want to. It all depends on the setup. There's zones. We'll talk about that. So here we go. Neck pickup. For the EVERTUNE to do this, I'm going to have to put it in zone 3, I think that's what it is, where it really, that string is kind of out of the EVERTUNE at all, which is fine. You can do that. We're not actually judging that, we're judging the tone. If anyone gets the chord split, it's freaking PRS. No one really nails it like them. By the way, the reason why you don't see PRS on my channel is because of what I said about this guitar. Because I told them, if you're going to send me something like this, I will see this kind of stuff. Just letting you know. Let's go into a classic JTM, the Morgan MVP 66. Oh, where's the sustain there? Come on, PRS! Nice. Let's do more. Let's do the mini plexi. Just for shits and giggles. Okay, and more gain there. The Engel Artist Edition, which is all the way on the right there, that's going to have some gain. So, well, there we go. That's the sounds. By the way, the strings, very clever from them, were put on here. Don't see what they are. They could be D'Addarios, probably D'Addarios. Were put in here brand spanking new, so that they will be exactly the same strings when the guitar is rebuilt. So we have those probably 10 to 46 D'Addarios. They are going to install the new system, and they will put again 10 to 46 D'Addarios on it, so that we have a very fair comparison. Now I'm going to send this back. They will install the EVERTUNE, and we will see what the after sounds are. I'm very, very curious how much the EVERTUNE really affects a guitar that wasn't built with it from the very beginning, and that wasn't built to be a metal monster. It's a pretty good guitar. I mean, with all my bitching, these are solid instruments. So I'll pack it back up, and you will see this again in a few weeks. But you will see it in a few minutes, huh? And here it is. Now, it is March now, March 1st, I think. And I think I filmed the other stuff you just saw in December. So it took a while. And the beautiful folks from Unicut Guitars, did the install. And they documented it in a noob fashion, all in vertical. Great shots if you're an Instagram guy, which I'm not. So let's look at how they installed it. It's quite work intensive.
I will make the same mistakes. I'll take a new path, another direction.
So let's talk about pricing. To get this done at Unicut Guitars, apparently an F system, I don't quite know the difference exactly between the F and the G system. Look it up. I don't know. The F system is €180. The G system is €220. So I find for all the work they had to do and a beautiful job they did, this is pretty damn fair. Come on, this is very fair. And doing some tweaks and making sure it's all nice and Ausbesserungsarbeiten, as we say in German. Little fixer-uppers, that was an additional 90. And then they might talk about this little thing down here, which, look at this. Can you see it? No. This looks like the guitar came like this. But let's look at this. See this tiny thing? See that little thing there? They actually managed to get the grain happening. They managed to get the color perfect. That looks like it's something they had to fill up. But really, Who's gonna see that? That's a beautiful job done by Unicut Guitars. I really like the color of the EVERTUNE here, and it really, on this guitar, and I was not a big proponent of the system, but it doesn't really make the guitar look ugly or really any better or worse than it looked before. Of course, it's a little bit bigger system. Okay, I get this. But right here, this is nice. Now, I didn't tune this, and that's kind of the idea. That's the big idea. I took it out of the gig bag, and they set it up beautifully. They set it up the way I would set it up. And look at this. That's the idea. Travel with it around the world, take it out of the bag, and there it is. Now, can you do bends? I've covered most of it in my limited / EVERTUNE limited guitar video, but we're going to go through it again a little bit. Yes, you can. So there are 3 zones. There's the zone in which the spring will hold the string in perfect tune, and it's a zone where you tune, and it kind of stays in that zone. The spring does its job and nothing happens. Once you go above that zone, so you go up, then you go outside of that EVERTUNE's range, and you can actually do bends. And if you go below it, you also can go, do down tunings and stuff like this. So it is fully possible. And the way that it's set up right now, I think the top 3 strings are in the bendy range zone. Let's try this. Oops. So that works beautifully in. It's very tough to describe how did the playability and the feel of the guitar change. It's almost 3 months between me picking this up with the original trem on it and now the EVERTUNE. So would you remember what a guitar felt 3 months ago? Point is, feels good. It might actually be different in a little bit, tiny bit, but feels fine to me. Now the D string, nothing happens. I would have to bend quite a bit. Why is that? Well, because very rarely you would do those kinds of bends on the D string. So that also means like a vibrato will not actually go up and down in pitch. So for the more modern playing styles where you wouldn't vibrato on the D string, totally fine. On the A, they got it a little bit more in the bendy range. The A is pretty solid, but it bends quicker. So it feels exactly like it should to me. However, a little bit of a bend will not result in pitch change. You have to go quite a bit, and then it does a little bit of a jump. But again, feel-wise to me, no difference. Same on the E string. You have to go quite far. It's for the aggressive playing. So the big question to me was, what does that change tonally? Because according to Trevor Wilkinson, he's completely correct, where the string touches the guitar, which is here and there and there, that is where tone happens. Now, obviously, when you go into a trem block that's floating around on 2 or 6 screws, that is a very different connection to the bodywood than this big-ass piece of metal where it's literally on springs, which are all in the back here, kind of preventing the string from changing pitch. But while they do that, do they eat up resonance? Do they eat up the Schwingung, as we say, the vibration of the string? That is my big question. And again, very difficult for me to determine how did the sound change because I played it months ago. So I can play it and tell you what I think about the sound now. And then at the end of the video, in editing, so I can't comment on it yet, in editing, I will put before and after clips together. The amps settings haven't changed, so it should be comparable. Am I playing the same stuff? I don't know. Am I wearing the same clothes? No. Am I in the same mood? Probably not. So very difficult to really get accurate scientific before and after. The strings are the same, but we're going to go as good as it gets. So here with the Tone King clean. First impression is oodles of sustain. So the springs do not eat up any sustain as far as I'm concerned. And still a beautiful tone, thick, rich, what you would expect from this guitar. Is it exactly like it was before? Technically it can't be, but it didn't make it worse. Let's go to the MVP 66. Feels to me as if there's a little bit of treble that I'm looking for. Was that lacking before? We're going to find out in the AB. Is the pickup height the same? They had to take it apart. They put it back together. Did they measure the pickup height by the tiniest bit, micrometer? No, probably not. So it looks like we could go a little bit higher, but I mean, I'm not going to fiddle with it. Let's go to the mini plug C. Oh, could be 7, not major 7. Still great guitar. And I think that's the main idea there. I wouldn't expect it to be the same guitar because one of the main things where the string is attached has changed. Let's go to the Engel. Now, one of the benefits of the system is also you can really, really dig in and hit hard, and the string will not do the ew, ew, ew bendy thing because it just sticks. It does come with a tool to fine tune it up here. Okay, that's what you do here, I think. And then I think intonation is here. There are a couple of, oh no, you tune it here and then something here. There's 3 different points. Watch my other video. Let's see if we can do drop D, which is technically possible, but probably lots of dialing. We're below the zone. This is not going to be EVERTUNED anymore. Now it's just a normal string. So you can see it's totally possible. Back to E, that easy because it's E is not just 1 point anymore. Now E is a huge range on the dial. Now I went into the upper zone and now it is bendable. So you go into the upper zone and go a little bit below and then it's still EVERTUNING, but you can bend it. So, point is, still a good guitar. They invested, I don't know how much for the system, plus $300 to change it over. But they took a guitar with a very good basis. This is a rock solid guitar in green and made it better for touring, less hassle. If this is your main guitar and you just, you have the one tuning you're going for and you know how you're using it, then this is a less headache instrument now. As you can see, it is still expressive. You can put an EVERTUNE into a more traditional guitar. It doesn't have to be some metal thing. You don't have to play metal with it. It is a choice you make, and then you get less of a headache. If you're a working musician, you got to go on stage and know the damn thing works. Fine. If you have problems with jumbo frets and you're pushing too hard and your voicings aren't clean, that's a solution. If you're digging in really hard in the metal and your string always goes, pew, 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 that's a solution. You want to not have guitars detuned. That's a solution. It is a solution for many things. If none of these things bother you, you might not need that solution, okay? Now, before we go to the animals at the end, we're going to put some A/Bs from 3 months ago and now next to each other and see what happens. Again, scientific, pickup height, my daily mood. 3 months later, who knows what the tubes are doing, but generally you should be able to hear a before and after. So thank you so much to EVERTUNE for commissioning this video. It was the video that I wanted to make to really know what happens to a guitar when you put this very unique system in them. And now we know. So thanks for commissioning this. They did pay me for this because it's work. And here the before and after, and then animals at the end.